It had every makings of a classic Hollywood movie, and I can't wait to watch the NFL classics on this game. They'll probably play it next week because it was just such a great classic game.
Let's start off. The Niners do get the win 16-15 versus the Arizona Cardinals. Eddy Piñeiro walks it off with a 35-yard game winner at the buzzer. Let's start off with the big news from that game. Nick Bosa left the game in the first quarter with a knee injury. It was confirmed this morning that it was a torn ACL, and he is done for the season. This is the third serious knee injury of Bosa's football career. In 2020, his second NFL season, he tore his ACL and the meniscus in his left knee. That ended his season after 2 games that year. He also had surgery to repair a partially torn ACL in his right knee when he was in high school in Florida. Let's see. Also in that game, Mac Jones re-aggravated his PCL sprain during the game. Jauan Jennings and Brock Purdy obviously missed that game as well. But on the other hand, the Niners, with that win, they're 3-0 for the third time in the Kyle Shanahan era. The previous seasons are 2019 and 2023. So that maybe the third time's the charm and they finally get the Super Bowl win, you know? So that's nice. I'm going to try to look at the bright side because that's what I have to do. But I do want to talk about Ricky Pearsall because Ricky Pearsall has been on fire. Okay, to start the year. Here are some stats from via Nick Wagner. Okay, so I pulled these from him through the end of Sunday Night Football on week 3. So where Ricky Pearsall is landing among wide receivers in the NFL. He's averaging 93.7 yards per game. That's fourth in the league. Okay. He has 16 receptions. He's tied for 14th. Okay, that's a little bit low. All right, but still, that's a top 15 wide receiver. 17.6 yards per reception is fifth. 12.2 yards per target. That's number 1 in the league. 2.55 yards per route run. That's 11th. And he has 14 first down receptions. So when they need a first down, they're going to him. That's tied for second in the league. And Trent Williams gave a quote on Ricky Pearsall. He said, "I think he's going to cement himself as one of the top receivers in the league here soon." So the big fella loves it. I love it as a Niners fan, and I called for it at the beginning of the year. I said this is the Ricky Pearsall breakout. You asked me at the end of last season if I saw enough from Ricky Pearsall. He had the one big blow up game, and I said, "Yep, I saw enough." I felt confident going forward with him, and we're starting to see it, and we're seeing it with Mac Jones. I can't wait till Brock Purdy gets back. So uh, so when Brock gets back, maybe this week, there was a little bit of rumblings that Brock was questionable going in, but like I kind of knew that he wouldn't actually play. Maybe this week was on the early side of the timetable for his return. If Brock is actually able to go this week, maybe Pearsall gets to get unlocked. Also, you have Demarcus Robinson. He has completed his 3-game suspension. So the wide receiving core gets a little bit of help now. He looked pretty good in the preseason. So that's going to help a little bit. Suddenly, even though you're losing Nick Bosa, the rest of the defense stepped up pretty big time, especially the rookie Michael Williams, the rookie we drafted. That was very promising to see. And Bryce Huff too looked pretty good as well. He fits a lot better in the Niners system than he did in the Eagles system. So thank you for that as
I
well.
think
Also,
also too he fits well just because of the experience he's had with your defensive coordinator / ex head coach as well too. So
right, exactly, yeah. So I mean, just overall, the fit is better here with over here. You know, for whatever reason, he's playing really well to start the year as well. So overall, even though you lose Nick Bosa to the injury, there is still enough pieces in the cupboard to hopefully make up for it, and we'll see what happens going forward. Hopefully, they can you know stop the catastrophic injuries. That'd be nice, but you know, because it's getting pretty goddamn ridiculous. But for the love of God, just start getting some of these other pieces back. Obviously, if Brock comes back, that'd be good. If Jauan Jennings can come back as well in the next week or two, then all of a sudden you have three pieces. Brandon Ayuk is also probably a couple more weeks away, maybe 3 or 4 weeks away from being able to start playing as well. Suddenly, you start looking a lot healthier, and you're already 3-0 to start the season, and you have all these injuries. If you start getting healthier, uh, you start adding pieces, and you have a winning record. I'm starting to feel a lot better. So
Do
yeah.
you
Right.
think when Ayuk comes back, do you think you have two wide receiver ones, or
No.
do you think Pearsall becomes the wide receiver one? And if you think that he becomes a wide receiver one, how do you feel about knowing that you're paying Ayuk so much money to not be a wide receiver one?
I think I'm not worried about the wide receiver one question this season. I think that's a question for 2026.
Okay.
I think that's a question you punt to next year, because even when Ayuk comes back, he's still not going to be 100% when he is back, because these kind of injuries, the leg injuries, especially like I believe it's an Achilles that he's coming back from. It takes way too long. You need basically a full year of moving on it before you actually start to look like you've returned to normal, right? So it takes super long to come back from that. I'm
Right.
not worried about that part of it. Yet when he comes back, that's not a question. It's Ricky Pearsall's the one for this year, as far as I'm concerned. We can worry about the money and all that stuff next year and in the offseason. And if both of them, if IU comes back and looks like the one, guess what? We got 2 1s. That's great, awesome. If IU comes back and he just doesn't look the same, or like the guy that we paid to be the number one, I'm not surprised, because of just how devastating these leg injuries are and coming back from it, and just how long it takes to come back after that. It just takes too long to come back. Remember, Adrian Peterson is the exception, not the rule. People,
Right.
like these things, just you can't come back from these kind of injuries that fast. They just um, freak of nature type stuff. Even I remember talking about it. Like, I remember in 1997, Jerry Rice coming back from he tore his ACL in game 1 of the season. He Because he's a freak of nature, he was back in week 14, and then he broke his kneecap. So it didn't actually tear the ACL. He didn't re-tear his ACL, but he did break his kneecap, and it was because he rushed back a little bit too soon. So I'm just you got to take your time. I'm not worried about like what he looks like when he does come back. Hopefully he's great and he's performing at an all world $30 million a year type player that we're paying him. But if he's not quite there yet, I'm not quite worried yet. It's 2026 when I'm gonna start worrying about
Yeah. Also, too, I wanted to note in that game, pairs up for Connor. He
Yeah.
had a devastating leg injury in that
Absolutely.
game. So
it. His season is done, maybe his career too, just because of his age and just how rough the NFL is. His contract extends beyond this year, so he'll have possibly a chance to come back next year. But even so, man, like that was absolutely brutal. And hopefully this isn't the end for him. But if it is, he's in the hall of pretty darn good for a few years there.
yeah,
you know, he's like,
definitely.
he'll be one of those guys. You go, oh yeah, I remember that guy. That guy was pretty good on my fantasy team for a few years. Like that. That run when Le'Veon Bell decided to not show up, and they're like, all right, James Conner, you're the dude, and then just out of nowhere, he just exploded on the scene, man. I remember having him on my fantasy team that year, and that was a lot of fun. And I tell you what, that was good times, so yeah.
Thanks for the memories in fantasy
Thank-
football, brother.
Thank you, James Conner, for that
Yeah.
chip.
No, it's really sad.
Yeah.
Really sad to see. 49ers, Vince, next week you got the Jaguars, and the week after that, Rams and 49ers, which could be like the battle of first place.
Yeah. Right now the Niners are in first place thanks to Tyler's Eagles giving us the assist this
Mhm.
week. So I appreciate that. Why don't we talk about that?
Yeah.
Thanks for the assist, by the way. Your boys were able to lead a massive comeback. You end up getting the W 33-26 over the Rams. How you feeling, bud? Were you able to finally vapor lock your ass off the seat? Like
I
clenching
had
so hard?
to I had to take a nap afterwards. It was there's a video that my wife showed me that it was pretty spot on with how it was. I'll tell you, the first half of that game, I didn't think we had a dog in the race, let alone a fighter's chance of even coming back in that one. I as an Eagles fan, we're pretty critical on our coordinators. It's just they're a really knowledgeable fan base, and it's not really good when the offensive coordinator is getting yelled out by fans alike across all platforms of social media. And it was definitely Kevin Matula's name was being cursed in our household over here. I don't know what happened. It looked like we were stuck in the mud. We were running the same HB dive play every single time. We could not return a kick, which people are upset about that one. I don't think you should be upset. The Rams kicker was basically kicking knuckleballs out there. I didn't even know you could do that. It was impressive. We literally could not receive a single punt return, or I'm sorry, a kick return. Not a single one. We were 0% onto it. So shout out to the Rams kicker on unlocking a new technique that I'm pretty sure everyone in the league is going to be watching and trying to see if their kickers can kick some knuckleballs. It was really effective strategy from the special teams. But yeah, man, the Georgia Bulldogs, man, they you block one punt or you block one field goal, but to do it twice in the same game and let alone let the second one be the walk-off win. I was sitting there, and this is the video that I was going to tell you about, where I basically had given the okay. I was coming to terms with, you know what, the Rams should win this game. They had every reason to win this game. There's no reason Eagles should be in this. It's okay. We'll come back next week against the Bucks and be ready to go. And then miracle happened. Jordan Davis ran 19 miles per hour with a football at 300 pounds to return it to a walk-off win, which if I tell you that I was floating in the air in our house. I was jumping. I don't think I knew where I was. Everything was completely blacked out for me. Crazy. Like I don't understand how that happens, but the Eagles just always find ways to make my heart medication have to be refilled here. Whether it be Miracle of the Meadowlands or Miracle Meadowlands 2 or this game, which hasn't had a name coin for it, but I'm sure one's coming soon. But Rams are one hell of a team, man. Our head coach has never lost to the Rams, which I think is a tribute to good coaching on our sides over here. I'll tell you, man. If this game was played later in the season, there's a couple passes that Stafford missed one to Puka, one to Adams, Devontae Adams, that I think he hits if he's in rhythm. And I think that definitely would have changed some scenarios today, or at least yesterday. But of course, he missed those throws and missed the first downs, and they ended up having to kick field goals, which ended up being the demise when it came to the point total there. So I got to give a shout out to Vic Fangio and that defense just holding that down for as long as they could. The joke was that Kevin Patula only had running plays. He forgot his passing plays at home, so his mom had to come to the link and drop it off to him. Because that's the only reason why we won. Because it's AJ Brown started getting touches, that opened up the run game. Devontae Smith with a very clutch touchdown to go ahead there by one score. It had every makings of a classic Hollywood movie, and I can't wait to watch the NFL classics on this game. They'll probably play it next week because it was just such a great classic game. So you got your work cut out for you. The Rams are one hell of a team. Be ready to be really frustrated with those knuckleball kicks that's coming your way. That's a new fun toy that they've got going on there. But I wouldn't be shocked if I see the Rams come January. To be totally honest with you, that was a solid team. That was fun. I would do that again.
Shanahan always does his homework against McVay, like for sure. Like he always hits the textbooks hard against him for sure. So that it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm excited. Hopefully the Niners have Brock playing in that one.
I will tell you though. So quick note is that the Eagles are going to be flying into Tampa Bay on Friday to try and get acclimated to the heat because we absolutely got boat raced last season. It was like to 300 degrees on the field, and none of our players could stay healthy. So
The
um,
humidity.
yeah, maybe it'll be like the famous Eagles Texas game or Dallas game, which was the hottest game ever played on the NFL, and it was called the pickle game because all the Eagles drank pickle juice to stay hydrated. So maybe they'll have some extra pickle juice for them on the field when they come next Sunday here. You were saying that I did the assist for you, or at least my team did the assist for you on the Rams here. I was hoping that the Raiders could assist me, but they couldn't do that. So please tell me why the Raiders couldn't assist me against the Commanders.
Because that O line is trash. Straight up.
It's a 41-24 loss against Washington.
Straight up
Just for the
trash, dude.
people. Uh,
And the game wasn't even that close. I mean,
Yeah.
it was over from kickoff. As soon as the Raiders took the field on offense, I mean, it is just an absolute embarrassment, guys. Geno Smith had a pretty decent bounce back game, considering that more than 50% of the snaps he was running around for his dear life. No quarterback is going to be able to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball, especially when you have an offense that's designed to be, timing routes, guys getting to their spots. Um, Geno Smith is having less than a second and a half to make a read and get the ball out. No quarterback in the league is going to succeed with this O line. Anybody not named Colton Miller should probably lose their job. You just got to change it up. It's not working. Meredith at the center spot, he's too small. He's getting bull rushed. He's getting pushed back on every single play. The butt fumble against the Chargers could have cost you a touchdown. Uh, there's just so many mistakes on the O line that you have to change it up. It's a mess. Geno Smith was sacked 5 times and pressured 24 times. Ashton Genty was hit behind the line of scrimmage 11 of his 17 running attempts. So 11 of 17 attempts, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage and had to break tackles, had to shake dudes because the offensive line can't set a block. Um, and that's the problem with the team is that they can't. There is no consistency in the offensive line whatsoever. So it's really hard to judge any skill positions because Geno has to get the ball out in less than a second and a half. You're not going to get very many plays off. You're not going to get plays that push the ball downfield. So that to me is like the biggest disappointment of the season. I think it's having the makings of a long day at the office week after week. And that's going to be brutal. And no one knows misery like a fucking Raider fan. Let me tell you. It is dark days. I still believe in the program. I still believe in the stability. I just think there's not enough talent on the offensive line. Colton Miller's doing pretty damn good. He's one of the highest rated offensive linemen in the NFL based on individual stats. He's been solid. It's everybody else not named Colton Miller. JPJ was supposed to be the starter of the future. Where are you at? He's made some super bogus, boneheaded penalties that cost the Raiders drives. So there's a lot of young guys on this line. Alex Kappa as a veteran, that was awful. He should be cut tomorrow. That's how bad it was. He should just cut him. It ain't going to get better. He's there's too much tape on him to show that he's not going to get better than what he's been the past 2 games. We have a whole season of him in Cincinnati after over a season, and now we're seeing it here with the Raiders. It's time to move on. He's not going to get better. DJ Glaze at right tackle. He was like the only guy on the team that didn't really have to compete for his job. He has to be better. The job was given to him because he was supposed to be the surefire starter at right tackle. He hasn't been good. There just needs to be changes. I don't. It's gonna be a grind all season, but I think in the long term that with the skill positions, I think they got a couple wide receivers that are young guys. They got the running back, and then there's some pieces on defense. So I think they're too thin. They're too thin on talent at the O-line, and they're being exposed. These teams are exposing them for it, and you're not going to get anything off if your O-line is that awful. I mean, it's historical bad.
I mean, I'm right there with you. The Eagles had -1 passing yards at the half. Our right tackle filled in for Lane Johnson, who got hurt, and it was just absolute garbage. And then Fred Johnson came in as the super backup right tackle that he is. So it seemed things to be leveled out there. But I definitely think that, yeah, you're right, man. An O line can make it break you. I certainly thought that we were losing that game because that O line couldn't give Jalen Hurts a second to breathe, let alone read the defense of what's going on. So. Who do you guys play who next week on your schedule here? I believe
I just had it. Hold on.
You guys are playing
The
the
Bears.
Bears. So, and you guys are back home. So I think, look, I know Caleb had a pretty decent game this past week.
This is maybe his best game as a professional so
Yeah.
far.
So
Yeah.
he's coming in hot. He's got a lot of confidence. Yeah, I think to your point though, man, that O line's got to get better shape real fast.
You're at home. You're coming home against the Bears. Caleb Williams has showed some promise, but he's also a young quarterback learning a whole new system. So there's going to be opportunities that for the defense to cause some havoc, create some confusion. I told you guys, the Raiders are going to create turnovers. They have turnovers in every single game this season now. Defensively, they're creating a turnover every game. And that's something a Pete Carroll defense does. You have opportunity to do that again against this Bears offense. The O-line has to be better. You're coming home. You got to be jacked. Raider fans showed up against the Chargers. It was 85, 86%, whatever it was, Raider fans. You laid an egg. You need to prove something to the fans that are showing up and paying for a ticket. And you have some winnable games. I know the Colts in 2 weeks, they look really good. They're showing promise. They look a lot better with Daniel Jones, but that's a winnable game, even in Indianapolis. After that, you got the Titans. They got a rookie quarterback. That's a winnable game. They have not looked very good as a whole in all three phases. And then right after that, you got the Chiefs. So if you're a 500 club, sweet. Steal a couple games here and there, but you got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And I think you're supposed to beat the Bears. Like, the Raiders you should not expect to be a 3-win, 4-win team. You should be somewhere around 500. But they got to step up. I mean, they got to step up. Yesterday I was pissed, man. I was just so like, I'm still hopeful, but a lot of mistakes you got to clean up on that offensive line. And that's all I could say, man. It's you can't judge the offense on because they're just you can't run the ball because he's getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So then it's no threat. So then there's really no reason to bite on the play action. So now there's nothing open deep. Like you have no options when you can't block.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Like those guys need to do better.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Commanders and Chargers that was a good test following the Patriots, but looking at your schedule. Yeah.
To move on off, we can move on in a second, but we got the text that Jaden Daniels wasn't playing, and I texted you guys, no Jaden Daniels. I should have went into a deeper text with you guys because my point was what I was thinking when I sent that was as a Raider fan, I'm more afraid of the backup quarterback than the rookie of the year, that took his team to the NFC title game. I don't know what it is the Raiders lose to backup quarterbacks. Like if I was a team, just start your backup quarterback because he's going to get a rest day and the backup is going to have a career freaking day. I've never seen it happen so many times for 20 years.
Also, too, what was crazy about last week?
Mariota was like an MVP.
I know. What was crazy about this past week, too, that I forgot to mention? The Eagles had a block field goal attempt for a touchdown. The Bucs had a block field goal for a touchdown. And there was one more team that I'm drawing a blank on
The
too.
Vikings had 2 defensive
Yep.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
I know because I started them in fantasy.
Was
and
it
so
a
I got
blocked
that
field
alert
goal as
twice.
well too?
I just got the alert Vikings D touchdown twice. I got that alert twice, and I was like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Vikings, but somebody else also had a blocked field goal and returned it for a touchdown. So, which I think is insane. I can't remember the last time I've seen that happen repeatedly in a single day of football. You know, like over a course of a season, sure, but like 3 in one day, and then not to mention there was tons of blocked field goals in general on Sunday. But to have 3 returned for touchdowns in the same week it's pretty insane to me. So, just want to put that out. Also, so look, I'm looking at your schedule here. You've got the Bears. Daniel Jones looks pretty damn good. And I'm telling you right now, if Daniel Jones can keep this up, Brian Dable was fired already before, after week 1, but he's really fired now if Daniel Jones keeps up this momentum that he's got going on. But again, to your point, that is a game that you could possibly win there. The Titans, that's another game you could definitely possibly win there. The Jaguars, that's a game you could definitely possibly win. The Browns, all right. And then I would say probably down the end there, it's a crapshoot with the Texans. It depends on what kind of CJ Stroud you're getting that game. Are you throwing is it massive picks CJ Stroud or is it MVP CJ Stroud? And then your last one is the Giants. So I think out of those, there's what I would argue are, and the Cowboys too. I would argue those are probably your easy chances to get some wins over there.
You just rattled off like 7 games?
Yeah.
I mean, you got 7 games that could very easily be 50-50 games, right?
Yep.
You win 4 of those 7. You're a 500 club. You're improving. And that's what I'm getting at is like you have wins on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do the crap that you did yesterday. You can't soil the bed like that.
Yep.
So there's wins on the table for him. There's an opportunity for him. And if you're, you got more home games against AFC West division rivals, you steal a game here or there, you're in it.
Yep.
You got a shot. But you got to do better than that. That was a failure on all 3 phases. I know I went hard on the O-line. Special teams had problems, which is usually a solid unit. They had issues. So it was just one of those days where from kickoff, it was, oh no, it's going to be a rough one. Thank God we had things to do in the afternoon. So I had to move on because
right.
I had stuff to do. I had things to get to. All right, I'm done talking about this misery. This is making me depressed again. Onward and forward next week.
Yeah, I think on this note, that is a good point to move on here.